It's time for Remodel Revolution Radio. And now, an award-winning contractor with over 40 years' experience. Here is Alex Guthrie.
Welcome to another edition of Remodel Revolution Radio. I'm your host, Alex Guthrie, and welcome to my show. Every day is a gift that we all get, and I really appreciate you sharing your gift with me, sharing a little bit of that day. Listen to us. Check out our website, remodelrevolutionradio.com. Check out my blog. Go to Spreaker or iTunes or iHeart or Spotify or wherever you get your normal podcast things, and go into the search window and then key in Remodel Revolution Radio, and bang, there you go. We're there. Enticing, amazing interviews, also educational with amazing people. Great series. We do series. Twitter is at Remodel Rev. And check out the blog at remodelrevolutionradio.com. It's pretty cool sometimes when I get around to it. Remodel Revolution Radio on Facebook Live. You can listen and like on Facebook and also leave a review, but be nice about it. The phone lines are open today, 800-281-8255. We'll have them open for the entire show, both hours. If you're listening to AM radio, listening to 620 KEXB, our affiliate in Dallas, welcome. Hope you're having a great day. You can also give us a call at 800-281-8255. And if you're near your AM radio, or you're not near your let's say you're not near an AM radio and you're at your computer and you want to listen to this broadcast streamed live, go to KEXB 620 AM in Dallas and do a few little clicks, give it a little information, and whammo, you'll get us live. Hey, if you don't have time to call during the show and you want to leave a message during the week, any time of the day, the red line is 469-629-9202. Sometimes if the phone's not dead, I'll actually pick it up. Today's show, you got stucco? Well, we're going to have our stucco expert, Ken McCombs, join us for all the information you're going to need and want about stucco. He's going to be on about 9:30. He is my go-to guy. He does all my stucco work. He repairs. He does great repair work, but mostly he's a smart guy. He knows what he's doing. And there's no one else in North Texas I would call, because I do a lot of work with stucco, whether I want to or not. And I've got to have the right guy doing it. This is a guy I call. And also at 10 o'clock, Barry Johnson, he's going to, from Blooming Colors Landscaping, he's going to give us a call, or we're going to call him or whatever. We're going to get him on the line, and we're going to have a fall gardening and landscaping tips. Are you ready for winter? Because believe it or not, I think we had 100-degree days within the last 10 days, and in the next 2 days, it's going to be high in the 40s. So that's kind of, that's pretty much normal mojo around here. We go from summer to winter. For us, that's winter in North Texas. Should you get a third-party inspection for your new home or remodel project? A case study from the Rescue House Files, the engineer's letter from Hades. Okay, listen up, folks. Go to YouTube and search Remodel Revolution Radio, and you will find some amazing videos that I've been putting up for the last few weeks about a house that we're working on. It's called the Rescue House. It's got its own little show in there. And also another one, Dan and Tammy's remodel. And then there's a few others mixed in. these are really fun videos and interesting because it's sort of a case study in a house that is really a rescue house that I'm working on for some folks. And they brought me in because it really got bad. And when you see the videos, you'll see what I'm talking about. It's an interesting lessons really in how things should not be done and what we're doing to correct them, which is also kind of interesting. And is your project properly supervised? Tips and advice, also how things can go wrong. Well, if you go look at those videos at YouTube, you'll see how they can go wrong because they've got pretty bad. Today's green tip brought to you by Hargrave Foundation Repair. Did you know a plastic soft drink bottle will live in our environment for at least 450 to 1,000 years, according to Post Consumer's website? Did you know 90% of plastic bottles are not recycled? Did you know it takes 1.5 million barrels of oil a year to make those bottles and even more to transport them? Did you know that there is an estimated 46,000 pieces of plastic floating in our oceans per square mile? And they've even been found in the Antarctic. This is why recycling is so important. We have to do better. We can do better. And my friends at Hargrave Foundation encourage you to recycle and reuse. Use reusable liquid containers. Reuse your grocery bags, which I always forget when I go to the grocery store. And now I have to pay for them. Ask yourself if it can be reused before you throw it away. Save our planet. Do it. Give my friends at Hargrave Foundation Repair a call, 972-442-3415 for all your foundation needs. I've really become, as I drive through the Metroplex in North Texas, it seems like we're made up of landfills. So when they built a bunch of these landfills, most of them, it was on the outskirts of town when they built them. They were out in the country. Well, of course, we've grown up around them. We're actually building houses literally on them or across from them all over town. They're building developments. And it is incredible how fast they're enlarging and how large they're getting. So it behooves all of us as a society to recycle and to be conscious of what we're doing to the environment around us. It's really, really important that we do that. So recycle. In the news, Parsippany Company commits $1 million to rebuild in the Carolinas after Hurricane Florence. Hurricane Florence hit a Parsippany Company close to home. GAF Roofing has a plant not far from Wilmington, North Carolina, where the storm hit the hardest last month. GAF, based in Parsippany, took action after the storm through donations and assistance that will total about $1 million. GAF is, of course, probably the largest producer of roofing materials that in the country, I imagine. And of course, that's what goes first is the roof. So, congrats to them, kudos to them, and we need more large companies to come up to the plate and help people out because we're getting slammed with these hurricanes, and we're still recovering from the 3 major hurricanes from last year, 2 of them in Texas and 1 of them in Florida. The rebuilding still continues. It's created all kinds of shortages, all kinds of problems for the victims of those hurricanes, the homeowners who lost all or part of their homes. And quite frankly, recovering from that is almost impossible. So it's really, really a great idea to help out if you can. Volunteer, go down there. If you're going to go on vacation, go spend a day helping people out. This is where you've been going and enjoying yourself at the beach. Now let's go help them out. They've helped us out. Emails. We've got emails. One email, and this is from Alan and May Pearl. What's the best paint for iron gates, and should I paint them now or wait for spring? Don't wait, Alan. Bad idea. Okay, so what makes your iron gates and your any iron on the outside of your house need painting? And it's oxidation. And oxidation is caused, it's quite simple. It's just where the iron and moisture make contact. And that can be, even if your paint, you're like, well, it's painted. Well, if the paint isn't providing, it wears out after a while. It's sort of, it gets beat down by the sun and weather and all that stuff. So it starts getting thin, and it doesn't protect the steel like it should, the iron. And it'll start rusting actually underneath the paint. So we find it all the time where we'll scrape the paint off to prep it to paint the iron, and it's corroded really bad underneath because it wasn't kept up with. So here's what you need to do. If you're going to paint iron gates or fences or whatever you're going to do, if it relates to iron, is first you have to remove the rust and corrosion. And that means taking usually a wire brush first. First thing is take a wire brush and brush it down and try to remove all the scaly, loose stuff that's in there. That would be normally just a lot of paint. You'll just be removing a lot of paint. And you'll get down to a rusty, corroded area on that piece of iron. Then you need to try and remove the rust and corrosion. And that's the more difficult part of the process. And sometimes you can take certain kinds of sandpaper, anything that will help scrape that stuff off and get it down to semi-clean metal. Get that down to clean metal, and then you want to prime it. There's iron that's called iron oxide. There's primers that are made just for that. Prime that metal, and that'll really help protect it from moisture getting down and rusting it again. And then you would get a really good paint, something like Rust-Oleum, which is made for that. And I love that stuff. I think it works great. I've used it ever since it's been out there. I like Rust-Oleum. So try that and do it now. If you wait, the longer you wait, the worse it's going to corrode. So why not? It's a great time of year to be working out in the yard if it's not raining. Here's an email from Jill from Flower Mound. She said, I'm seeing blue dots in between the glass panes on my windows. Is that bad? Yes, that's bad. Blue dots. Sometimes your glass will not hold up. It'll lose its seal is what I'm trying to say. Your glass will lose its seal, and you may not see a fogged glass like you think you're going to, but you'll see little blue dots. That's an indicator that oxygen has gotten in between those glass panes, and that glass is giving out. So what do? Well, if we have newer windows, like within the last 5 years, and they're a good brand, you probably replace the entire sash. And the sash is the working part, or the part of the window that holds the glass that's attached to the frame that is on the outside of the window. It's cheaper, faster, better to just replace the entire sash as long as you can match it and your windows aren't too old and they've lost the colors changed or whatever. That's typically the best thing. We used to be able to go in and take the glass pane out and then replace the glass itself, but they are doing such a better job now of adhering that glass in there. The adhesive is really good. We can't get it out like we used to. And if it's a vinyl window or something, I would just see if I could replace the whole sash. I still have more emails, and I'm having fun. I'm feeling good today. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to hear from our sponsors. Stay tuned to Remodel Revolution Radio for more handsomeness. Some people think the only thing worse than calling the dentist is calling the foundation repairman. That's why I recommend Hargrave Foundation Repair. Cracks in the walls, doors that won't close, give the folks at Hargrave Foundation a call. Now, sometimes it's not the foundation at all. That's why you need an honest, proven company. You see, understanding the soils and weather is a must for a lifetime repair. Family owned and operated since 1968, Hargrave has seen it all. Hargrave Foundation Repair is fully licensed and insured, and their staff stays up to date on all the latest techniques and advances. So call one of the last independently owned foundation companies in North Texas and the exclusive installer of the Chance helical pier system. Call Hargrave Foundation Repair at 972-442-3415. That's 972-442-3415. Hargrave Foundation Repair, 972-442-3415. Alex Guthrie here for my friends at Total Air and Heat. Did you know a typical AC unit runs enough hours in a year equal to a car running 60,000 miles? Total Air and Heat recommends that you tune your system and have it safety checked every 6 months to ensure peak efficiency, proper operation, and increase the life of the system. Need a new air conditioning and heating system? No problem. Total Air and Heat can replace your equipment with the best equipment on the market today. Train. And you know it's hard to stop a train. So for the best heating and air conditioning contractors in North Dallas and Plano for the past 60 years, call my friends at Total Air and Heat, 972-881-0020. That's 972-881-0020. Or visit them online at totalair.com. Total Air and Heat. So what does a garage door do besides enhance your home, protect your family, and secure your vehicles? Well, when you contact the pros at Windsor Door, you'll learn how a truly high-quality garage door company can make a difference. Insulated doors, carriage-style doors, steel and custom wood, Windsor Door has them all and much, much more. And nothing makes a garage door work better than a high-quality opener. That's why the folks at Windsor Door only use LiftMaster garage door openers. And it's no wonder LiftMaster is the #1 professionally installed garage door opener. Only LiftMaster has patented MyQ technology, which alerts you if you forget to close your garage door and lets you close it from anywhere, anytime with built-in Wi-Fi technology. It also has battery backup, so you can get in even when the power's out. So contact a Windsor Door dealer near you at windsordor.com. 800-281-8255. Hey, give us a call. I got all the time in the world this morning. I just need to hear from you. 800-281-8255. If you have a question or you have a comment, as long as it's nice and it's telling me how much you like my hair, give me a call and let's talk about it. Let's have some fun. Okay, so I've got another email here. It is from Dan and Doug in Dallas. What's the best material for an arbor? Cedar is so expensive. Well, guys, I'll tell you what. Cedar is still the way to go. I know it's kind of pricey, and and because of where it comes from Canada. We had a big price increase. That's just how it is with a lot of the softwoods that we get from the north, the great Northwest. Things have gotten a little pricey right now. Hopefully they'll go back down. But cedar is still really the best. It's the most beautiful. There are alternatives. Alternatives. And there is man-made material that are kind of all sort of plastic or some sort of, mixture of things that are sort of plasticky. And they're fine. They've gotten a lot better. They used to be a problem. There are some things that you need to know if you're going to use these products. They're made to simulate wood. A lot of them have wood chips in them or wood pulp in them, and that's fine. But they actually will shrink just like wood will. Most of them, anything that's out in this heat that we have directly into the sun and the weather, will tend to shrink to some degree. And I know that we have certain products. There's a product that a lot of builders use in place of wood, and it's sort of a plasticky kind of product. And we all used it, and then we all started getting complaints from our clients as that stuff was shrinking like a quarter of an inch. So you got to be careful, do your research, check the comments when you're looking at these products, and see how the experience other people have had with them. I've gotten where that has become a habit for me. I take out all of the ones that say it's perfect because I figure that's the salesman. And then I always know that there's always going to be somebody that nobody can make happy, and that's the guy, the person that gives it 1 star and has nothing but ugliness to say. And I'll take the comments that are kind of like right in the middle, and I'll sort of weigh it out, and I'll go, okay, well, maybe I'll try it, maybe I'll just keep looking. That's the beautiful thing about the internet, isn't it? We can do that. We have the ability to do that. So there are other products. If you're going to use wood and you want that wood look, cedar is it. There's also things like hardy. There's all sorts of cementatious products that are available out there that are man-made. But I would definitely do some research, because not everything is made for the project you want to do. So if you're building an arbor, again, depending on the looks, you may want to go with the wood. One of the discussions that we're going to have today is about glue down wood floors. I had an experience this week at the rescue house where we found a room that we had not been working in, and we went in and moved some boxes just so we could clean it, and we found that moisture had been coming up through the concrete, been coming up through the foundation, through a wood floor that the owner had glued down, I think 5 or 6 years ago. And it is going to be a real problem for them because there's really no saving the floor. And I've had strong opinions about glue down engineered flooring ever since it's come out, because a few reasons. One thing is that I absolutely understand what happens with a cement slab. Regardless of how much plastic they put under it and how they try and protect it from heat transference and cold transference and moisture still gets in there. It's just a natural thing that happens in concrete. It just seems to absorb moisture from the air, and of course ground moisture can come up through them. We also, this house is about 30 years old, so it probably doesn't have that. We didn't pay attention to this stuff back then when we built these houses. And so if you're in an older home in particular, or if you have a home that has a lot of little fishery cracks in the foundation, you're definitely going to be getting moisture coming up through those things. Well, in this particular house, and there's a video of this on my YouTube channel. I don't think I published it. I haven't edited it yet to make it public, but it shows where not only has moisture come up and got trapped under the finish of the floor. So you have a wood floor, an engineered flooring, and it has some sort of sealer on top. That's what gives it the look you want it to have. And that is a pretty solid sealer. But that acts like a barrier. So when the moisture's coming up from the ground, it's coming through that slab, that foundation, and it gets trapped under that finish that's on top of that wood. It literally starts eating away at all of the wood, because that's what moisture does with wood. That's why we have these beautiful forests, because it all has gone through a natural cycle of decomposition. And so that's what happens. So we go in this room, we're just going to clean the floor, and when we come back from this break, we'll talk a little bit about what I found and why it proves my theory right, that you better be very, very careful if you're going to glue wood to your floor. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, Ken McCombs and more Remodel Revolution. So what does a garage door do besides enhance your home, protect your family, and secure your vehicles? Well, when you contact the pros at Windsor Door, you'll learn how a truly high-quality garage door company can make a difference. Insulated doors, carriage-style doors, steel and custom wood, Windsor Door has them all and much, much more. And nothing makes a garage door work better than a high-quality opener. That's why the folks at Windsor Door only use LiftMaster garage door openers. And it's no wonder LiftMaster is the #1 professionally installed garage door opener. Only LiftMaster has patented MyQ technology, which alerts you if you forget to close your garage door and lets you close it from anywhere, anytime with built-in Wi-Fi technology. It also has battery backup, so you can get in even when the power's out. So contact a Windsor Door dealer near you at windsordor.com. Alex Guthrie here for my friends at Total Air and Heat. Did you know a typical AC unit runs enough hours in a year equal to a car running 60,000 miles? Total Air and Heat recommends that you tune your system and have it safety checked every 6 months to ensure peak efficiency, proper operation, and increase the life of the system. Need a new air conditioning and heating system? No problem. Total Air and Heat can replace your equipment with the best equipment on the market today. Train. And you know it's hard to stop a train. So for the best heating and air conditioning contractors in North Dallas and Plano for the past 60 years, call my friends at Total Air and Heat, 972-881-0020. That's 972-881-0020. Or visit them online at totalair.com. Total Air and Heat. Some people think the only thing worse than calling the dentist is calling the foundation repairman. That's why I recommend Hargrave Foundation Repair. Cracks in the walls? Doors that won't close? Give the folks at Hargrave Foundation a call. Now, sometimes it's not the foundation at all. That's why you need an honest, proven company. You see, understanding the soils and weather is a must for a lifetime repair. Family owned and operated since 1968, Hargrave has seen it all. Hargrave Foundation Repair is fully licensed and insured, and their staff stays up to date on all the latest techniques and advances. So call one of the last independently owned foundation companies in North Texas and the exclusive installer of the Chance helical pier system. Call Hargrave Foundation Repair at 972-442-3415. That's 972-442-3415. Hargrave Foundation Repair, 972-442-3415. Welcome back to Remodel Revolution Radio. I love that song. Oh, good. This portion of Remodel Revolution Radio is brought to you by, how was that electric bill looking last month after a few weeks of 100-degree weather? I actually had a listener call me and tell me he was considering installing an attic fan because his AC bill was so high. Well, it's probably time to call my good friends at Total Air and Heat. Steve and Justin Lawton and their team of experts are ready to repair or replace your system. So give them a call, 866-450-0602, and use the special promo code REVOLUTION and get your $25 Home Depot gift card by being a friend of the show. Just tell them Alex made you do it. So we had a couple of calls today, but they're all sleepy heads and they're not answering. So that's cool. We'll just keep going. So let's continue talking about the glue down wood floors and why these things happen. So glue down wood, engineered flooring. Let's start with engineered flooring. We'll talk about the difference in flooring. We have engineered flooring for, of course, forever, up until, I don't know, 20 years ago, we were just using pretty much natural wood floors. And then a product called Pergo got introduced into the market in the 80s or 90s, and it was a Home Depot product. And it was a pre-finished floor, and it was real cheap. And it kind of looked like wood, only it was sort of a vinyl finish, but and that was all fine. But the original Pergo flooring had fiber. It was a fiber back. It was like a fiber product. It wasn't wood. It was fiber, and it had the look of real wood, but in fact, it wasn't real wood. And people were taking this product and they were gluing it down to their floors instead of having any sort of real wood down there. And they didn't have any moisture barrier. They didn't have anything. They just glued this stuff down. And it started literally just kind of exploding on their floors, because when the moisture comes up through the foundation, it absorbs into that stuff. Or even if you spill a glass of water on it, it absorbs into that material and it swells it up. And if you have it all fitting real tight together on that floor, it'll literally kind of pop it up. And that was what was happening with it. So there was lots of failures of that product for a couple of reasons. People didn't really understand what it was for, and they just thought it was cheap and it looked almost real. And it could look good when it first went down, but it just a lot of times didn't last real long. They started introducing these fiber products that were supposed to replace wood products. They do it in baseboard, crown mold, trim boards, everything that goes in house that was traditionally solid wood was starting to be replaced in the late 80s and 90s with this fiber material. I guess it was a new technology at the time. I don't know. And so that it's cheap, it's easy to get, it's easy to work with, but it's not very durable. And so if it gets wet, it causes a catastrophe. I mean, a failure in that product totally. It cannot handle water. It scratches real easy because it's soft. It doesn't nail particularly well because it's soft. So these are all just cosmetic things that they were doing, and they started doing it in wood flooring. So people were buying this great product, and then they realized they had a problem, and they evolved it into a sealed product where it was sealed all the way around. And they said, now you can just glue it to the floor because it's sealed on the back. Well, that worked for a little while, but again, if wherever you have cut the end of it or you have trimmed it or anything like that, moisture will eventually get in there. And we're getting calls to go look at floors that would have swelled up ends, or they would start buckling. And then even the engineered floor, the floors that are different from the fiber, the engineered flooring is more of a plywood product. It's got wood with a finished look to it. And I love them. I think they're great. I think they have a great place. They're environmentally, they're much better because we're not having to cut down nearly as many trees. The technology has got to this point now where you can virtually get any look that you want because of the way they put that finish on there. So it has a whole lot more flexibility in design. It really helps a lot in the design world. But you have to think about the things that made the traditional solid hardwood floors work is that they were solid wood. And solid wood can take moisture as long as it can dry out. And it's the same thing with these engineered floors. If they can dry out, then they can take some moisture, particularly just kind of normal moisture that would come up through a foundation or under a foundation, or moisture. When you run your air conditioning in the summertime, you're introducing cool, moist air. And anything that's in there that's dry, whether you realize it or not, is going to absorb some of that moisture. So over time, this is an accumulative problem. And over time, as moisture gets absorbed in there, it can either create a problem, it can create mold. It doesn't have to if it can dry out, but when you've glued that floor down to the concrete, it can't dry out. So what we found the other day when we were cleaning dust off the floor, I saw a spot in the floor where the finish had actually popped off, about the size of a 50-cent piece. And poked around on it with my finger and it felt wet. And now, mind you, we had not worked in this part of this house. We had not done anything. No one had worked in it. And the house has been in the process of being remodeled for almost 3 years now. So it was really, really disturbing that we found this moisture, because that told us that there was either a plumbing leak or moisture coming through the foundation. We didn't know what it was. So we kept moving dust until we could see that in between the pieces of wood where they fit together, there was a little white, crusty substance. And that is called effervescence. And effervescence is a process that happens when moisture comes through concrete, and it comes up through the concrete and it evaporates. It brings up minerals with it. And when it brings those minerals up, it leaves them, it evaporates out, it leaves those minerals behind as a byproduct. And you start seeing it over time as it looks like white chalkiness sometimes. Sometimes it looks crusty. You could feel it. It's almost like sandpaper. And it can really cause havoc. And you'd normally never see this in a house. You would normally not ever see this unless you can see it in tile floors. Certain types of stone that we're using are more susceptible than others because they absorb moisture. Things like slate, limestone, any soft stone that absorbs moisture will have an effervescence issue eventually, whether it's inside or outside. And so when I saw the effervescence between these boards on the floor, I knew immediately that the problem was that there was moisture coming up under the foundation, and it was evaporating up through the concrete and finding its way through that floor eventually. But what it's done in the meantime is it's collected in the wood like a sponge. And so the wood itself underneath the finish is wet, and it's getting trapped up against the bottom of that finish. And that's creating rot and mold, and that floor is going to have to be removed. And then we're going to have to deal with the issue of what's causing the moisture under the foundation that is so bad that it's coming up through these floors. So that's going to be our next plan. I have a plan for that. And we're going to talk about how you can actually drain. You can drain a lot, an LOT, a house lot, with a 5-gallon bucket of water. There's a trick. So when we discovered that we had this problem with this floor, we decided to look around the adjoining exterior wall on the outside and see if we could see any place that was holding water. And what we found was right next to the foundation, there was a low spot, and we know it's holding water. And we also know that we can see the outline of a cement foundation wall that goes like where they did cement around a garden. A lot of people do it, a little border that's maybe 3 feet out from the house, and then makes little boxes down the house. This one is flush with the grass line. It's not a tall one. And so what I estimate has happened is that moisture is getting trapped inside those old flower boxes, just sort of like a swimming pool. The rain gets in there because we've had so much rain, and it doesn't have anywhere to go, and it's ending up going under the foundation of this house. And there could be lots of reasons that that's happening. It could be the slope of the lot. It could be that there's shallow rock underneath this lot, underneath this house, and it could be hitting that rock and forcing its way under it. It could be simply that we've had such a large amount of rain this fall that the ground is so saturated that there's nowhere else for the water to go but up through that foundation. I've seen that happen many times and cause all kinds of problems for people. And so the solution is how do we the next question is, how do we determine whether or not there's excessive water under this foundation? And Alex is a tricky old dog. You know, he's been doing this a long time, and he kind of knows. It's kind of called the Bill Dukey test. The Bill Dukey test. Greg's in there looking at me like I'm crazy. He thinks I'm going to say something really sinful on this radio show, but I'm not. So the Bill Dukey test is where we take a Bill Dukey. And for those of you that don't know what a Bill Dukey is, a Bill Dukey is a plumber shovel. It's that long, skinny shovel that plumbers use, and a plumber will call it Bill Dukey. And you're going to dig a hole, where we are going to dig a hole next to this foundation with a Bill Dukey, because it's about probably 18 inches deep. And we're going to dig a hole that we know gets deep enough that it's below the thickness of this slab and the beam. And the beam's 18 inches typically. And we're going to create this hole. We're just going to dig a hole about maybe 10 inches in diameter. And we're going to watch that hole. This is called a perk test. For people that have septic systems, they call this a perk test. And the hole will fill up. I'm sorry, I'm being flashed. There's some real childish men boys around here.
I'm not supposed to let that distract you.
Finally, he got me.
And how dare you? You're talking about Bill Dukey, and you're worried about what he's doing.
I think that's what put it in his mind.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we're going to do a little perk test where we dig a hole, and we're going to watch it and see if it doesn't fill up with water or fill up partway with water. And that's going to tell us how much moisture there is under this foundation. And I guarantee you we're going to find some water. That's what's going to happen. That's what I'm going to make happen. And when we know that, then we will be able to, when we have that hole down there, we'll be able to track it and see if we think it's rainwater or migratory water or what it is. So the other thing we're going to do at the same time, we're going to do all this next week, and I'll have it on my videos on my YouTube channel. Go to YouTube, go to the search bar, key in Remodel Revolution Radio. Now, I would tell you to key in handsome bald guy, but that doesn't get you there.
I think that video is already taken. Somebody out there has that in their
Telly
tag.
Savalas died of old age. He was the last handsome bald guy. And for you young people watching this show right now, and thank you so much for being here. I'm really enjoying it. Telly Savalas was an actor.
For those of us that are not old enough.
For those of you that walk without a cane.
Yep.
So we're going to do a perk test. We're going to track this water, and then we're going to get the plumber, and we're going to turn the water off to the house, and we're going to watch the meter, and we're going to see if the meter spins. And that is going to tell us if there's a pressurized water leak in the plumbing. Now, my first reaction when my client asked me if that was the problem, if there's a plumbing leak, was probably not, and I have a good reason for that. When you have a pressurized water leak under your foundation, you almost always see damage. You'll see, actually, I've seen floors buckle up, and I'm talking about slab floors that will buckle up or swell up, or they'll get a hump in them because the soil underneath them is expanding because of all the water. Secondly, you'll just notice, maybe if you have a tile floor or whatever's on top of that floor is a finish, you might notice a damp area because it's just simply all this water coming through there. We're going to take a quick break. Hopefully Bobby keeps his shirt on this time. And we'll be right back with more of Remodel Revolution Radio. Don't go away. Some people think the only thing worse than calling the dentist is calling the foundation repairman. That's why I recommend Hargrave Foundation Repair. Cracks in the walls, doors that won't close, give the folks at Hargrave Foundation a call. Now, sometimes it's not the foundation at all. That's why you need an honest, proven company. You see, understanding the soils and weather is a must for a lifetime repair. Family owned and operated since 1968, Hargrave has seen it all. Hargrave Foundation Repair is fully licensed and insured, and their staff stays up to date on all the latest techniques and advances. So call one of the last independently owned foundation companies in North Texas and the exclusive installer of the Chance Helical Pier system. Call Hargrave Foundation Repair at 972-442-3415. That's 972-442-3415. Hargrave Foundation Repair, 972-442-3415. Alex Guthrie here for my friends at Total Air and Heat. Did you know a typical AC unit runs enough hours in a year equal to a car running 60,000 miles? Total Air and Heat recommends that you tune your system and have it safety checked every 6 months to ensure peak efficiency, proper operation, and increase the life of the system. Need a new air conditioning and heating system? No problem. Total Air and Heat can replace your equipment with the best equipment on the market today. Train. And you know it's hard to stop a train. So for the best heating and air conditioning contractors in North Dallas and Plano for the past 60 years, call my friends at Total Air and Heat, 972-881-0020. That's 972-881-0020. Or visit them online at totalair.com. Total Air and Heat. So what does a garage door do besides enhance your home, protect your family, and secure your vehicles? Well, when you contact the pros at Windsor Door, you'll learn how a truly high-quality garage door company can make a difference. Insulated doors, carriage-style doors, steel and custom wood, Windsor Door has them all and much, much more. And nothing makes a garage door work better than a high-quality opener. That's why the folks at Windsor Door only use LiftMaster garage door openers. And it's no wonder LiftMaster is the #1 professionally installed garage door opener. Only LiftMaster has patented MyQ technology, which alerts you if you forget to close your garage door and lets you close it from anywhere, anytime with built-in Wi-Fi technology. It also has battery backup, so you can get in even when the power's out. So contact a Windsor Door dealer near you at windsordor.com.
Say you don't know me. Say you don't care close.
Welcome back to Remodel Revolution Radio. We're having too much fun. We almost forgot to go. We're on the air.
Yeah, are we doing a live radio show here, or is
Yes.
this just kind of behind the scenes?
It's live and it's lively. We are on top of it today. So we're going to finish up this conversation about whether or not you have a plumbing leak or a migrating water leak under your house, because you need to know this. I run into this constantly, and in houses that were built in the 50s and 60s in particular, or in really 70s, when we really started going to slab houses. When I kind of cut my teeth in here, we were in this business. I worked primarily on pier and beam houses. That's a whole different kind of house, foundation, obviously. And so in those older homes where they ran the copper lines underneath them, in some cases in the slabs themselves, which they weren't supposed to do, those old copper lines wear out over time. There may be a piece of rebar rubbing up on it, or the foundation can shift. We've had a whole lot of issues where foundations would shift and it would actually shear a water line or a sewer line. And so you have basically it really is technically two different types of water issues under your house. If you have water, you have migrating water, which is water that's just moving non-pressurized, but that could be coming out of a sewer line. That could be coming from yard sprinklers. That could be coming from rainwater or just groundwater that just comes up and swells up under the house. Sometimes when we have all this moisture, old streams start popping up. That's real common in our part of the world because we have a whole lot of shallow limestone in our area. We also have a whole lot of swamps these houses were built on. And so that's marshes and swamps, and they named some streets after them in Dallas, actually. And so you can get a lot of moisture coming up under your house from a couple of different ways. If it's a plumbing leak, if it's a pressurized leak, you're going to see it. It's going to show itself one way or another. What you do is you turn the meter off at the street and you watch the little clock looking thing on the meter, and you see if it's spinning. You just see if the little dial is spinning on that meter, and it'll tell you if you have a pressurized water leak. Hopefully you don't, because those can be real challenging to fix. Now, we're going to talk later or next week about some really good ways to fix that. Don't listen to the guy that tells you he has to destroy your house to fix a pressurized water leak. It's not always the case. They also don't have to dig back caves under them, because that's the first thing that some plumbers want to do. They'll say, we've got to dig a back cave under here so we can get to the plumbing. I've got to have 3 men under your slab foundation. That's right. And so that isn't always necessary, and I've actually never done it. I've actually been able to fix every one of these without doing that. So there are cures for the pressurized waterline leak, but there is a difference between that type of leak and a migrating leak in the way you see this. So this has been a really wonderful long conversation about the leak I found, or the moisture I found under the house I'm working on, the rescue house. And the signs that you'll see if you have moisture coming up through your floor. If you have a tile floor, you might, when you're trying to clean it, it has this white chalkiness in the grout. That's moisture coming up, and you can seal the grout. Once that's in there, if that's coming up from underneath, I don't know that you can get that moisture out of there. That's usually not the case, and that's when a lot of times people will recolor the grout. But you can help mitigate some of that moisture with drainage systems, which will be our next conversation about this. We're going to talk about putting a drainage system around this house. It's going to capture that water before it can get up, before it wants to go up through the foundation. We can capture it low enough that we can get it out of there, and it's not going to continue to have these problems. And again, we've had so much rain. This could be like an extreme problem. That happens. But I have a feeling that it's been there a while, and I have a feeling there could be a stream coming up underneath. There's a golf course nearby. There's lots of watering going on, and there's not a lot of places for that to go every time. So we're going to talk about putting a drainage system in, and some of the ideas of what you would use and why you would use it. In other words, do you want to use a sump pump? I don't really like to use them unless I have to, but sometimes I have to because of the lot and the inability to drain with gravity. It happens. And so you have to kind of look at all aspects. I have houses that have 2 or 3 big sump pumps around them and under them to control water that migrates when it rains. We're going to take a quick break here, move on to the next hour. If you're listening on the radio, you need to get on Facebook Live to listen to the next hour of the show. If you're listening on and watching on Facebook Live, stay put. We're going to be back with more fun.
It's time for Remodel Revolution Radio. And now, an award-winning contractor with over 40 years' experience. Here is Alex Guthrie.
Welcome back to Remodel Revolution Radio, hour number 2, and it's about to get really exciting around here. Hey, the number 800-281-8255. That's 800-281-8255. Let's see, 281 love. No, it's not really. It's 281 talk. No, I know that. How do you think I learned how to spell talk? By the numbers. we have a fantastic guest on our guest line, hanging on for us, Mr. Ken McCombs. Mr. Ken McCombs is my go-to expert stucco guy. He is the man. If you have stucco work you are worried about or you need done, this is the only guy I call. And it's not because he's good looking. It's because he knows what he's doing. What's up?
Well, I tell you built me up pretty good there. I hope I can live up to that.
Well, I tried to keep you humble.
Yeah, this business does, I'll tell you that.
How you doing, Mr. McCombs?
Well, we're doing wonderful. We're doing wonderful. Rainy day in Dallas.
Yeah, yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah,
I love it.
And, you know,
So you
a lot
are.
of people think that a lot of people think that we're seasonal, but actually, rain is something that drives the stucco industry due to water intrusion, as you well know.
That's exactly right, and particularly stucco that's not done properly, which seems
Correct.
to be, that's a problem you and I face pretty I know you do every day, and I do fairly regularly. And there's a couple of reasons, and one is that people that are putting it up don't really understand it. But another thing is that there's two kinds of stucco. There's real stucco and there's the not so real stucco, or what you and I would call traditional stucco, and EIFS, E-I-F-S, which is kind of a styrofoam panel that's got a coating on it. So let's talk about the difference between traditional stucco. Now, here's the reason I wanted to talk about this so much this morning is because there's lots of people buying houses, and it sometimes I don't know if they still do it. They used to just call all stucco. If it looked like stucco, they had it on your thing as stucco. But in fact, there's two different kinds. There's the real traditional stucco, which is cement based, and there is the fake stucco or artificial I don't know what you call it, man-made.
Well, I would call it synthetic. It's a synthetic stucco.
Okay.
It's predominantly used in commercial setting, and then it was taken into a residential setting. One, it doesn't require as many control joints or stopping points. It's more crack resistant, and it offers an R value of 4.2 per inch. But in a residential setting, it's really not a durable product. I don't necessarily frown on it. We do a lot of repairs to properties that are existing, and the exterior is EIFS. It's a good sound product. It allows you to install much larger surfaces without any relief.
Well, and I have houses that are 25, 30 years old that have never had a problem with it.
That's true.
If it's installed properly, but when they first started introducing it into our market, into our system, we didn't really, you would just call your stucco guy or maybe even your brick mason, and you'd say, here,
you're exactly right.
And they'd spread a bunch of mastic on there and they'd stick the panels on. They didn't know. I didn't know. Who knew?
Yeah, that's exactly right. Kind of introduced here in Dallas, in this area in the late 80s, early 90s. And the brick mason, most of the time, would be asked to include it on gable conditions where there would be siding otherwise. And the brick mason would pick it up as part of his scope of work, and then he would find someone to install it.
Right.
Although we're a licensed applicator, and of course everybody that developed after that because of the improper installation methods.
Uh-huh. And catastrophic failures.
Yes, correct.
I mean,
with structural damage, water intrusion creating major structural damage, as along with rodents. They can burrow their way into the system and nest. Depending upon some of the profile trims that were used back in the early 90s, architects got a little carried away with the depths, and they no longer allow anything deeper than 4 inches now. But there were times when we were installing profile trims on commercial buildings that were 2 foot deep, 24 inches.
Wow. I did not know. You're talking about the crown mold around the edges, right?
Yeah. And that right there, some municipalities picked up on that. And one being the fire marshal in Carrollton Farmers Branch doesn't allow anything like that because it's under extreme heat. It melts and it can drain down on a fireman as they're walking.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's amazing. Now, also, I know that I remember a part of town that I used to work in a lot that had woodpeckers. And the woodpeckers were getting on that stuff. And when they'd start pounding it, it sounded hollow. And they were thinking, well, I got me a new hollow tree.
Exactly.
And they would pound a big old hole in it. And I remember one house, I don't know why, this one house had 2 or 3 of them. And they never could get rid of them. It was a nightmare. And so and so what happens with this product when water gets behind it in the original applications, no one paid attention to redundant drainage or how water would drain behind it. It was assumed that water couldn't get back there, I guess. Is that safe?
Yeah, because originally the system was adhered and not mechanically fastened with a vapor barrier. So yes, correct. The assumption was the water would not ever be behind it. Correct.
And when it did get behind it, it couldn't get out.
Exactly. It was encapsulated because but the proper method was to back wrap on any foreign termination, or at the bottom of the wall, you would back wrap and seal the system, which then, of course, sealed any moisture that got into the system.
Right. So we were pulling off whole walls. I mean, I would pull it off, and an entire wall behind it would be totally rotted, molded, rotted, gross, and we'd have to actually rebuild the house on the outside. So we've had a lot of, and a big part of the issue that causes that is whether or not it is properly sealed around the edges, around windows and doors, around openings.
Absolutely. And proper flashing conditions.
Proper flashing, and people were using silicone. This is where I first found out that builders were having their guys use silicone as flash instead of metal flashing.
Oh yeah.
And
you and I both look for that too when we look at roof line. Wall to roof connections, moment connections, if you will, where the wall surface meets the roof, and we look for that diverter flashing.
Right.
That's a natural instinct for us to see that is an active flashing there, and a lot of times there's not.
So let's talk about what real stucco is and the advantage it would have over this in certain ways.
Well, one, when we remove EIFS, we have to remove it in I would consider it phase work, because we can only remove what we can protect as we go around a residential property. Let's use a residential property for an example. So we may take west elevation and begin there. We'll remove a given amount that we can go back and protect, or dry in is a term that we use, with Tyvek around the windows, doors, and so on. And then you begin your metal lap installation following that. So it's a process. You don't you don't want to expose the entire property by just removing the exterior and just leaving
You
it
remove what you
exposed.
can. You remove what you can cover up and protect.
Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So, in a traditional, what I would call a traditional stucco consists of what? The system.
The system, typically an architect, an AIA standards, a 3-coat system. It's metal lath mechanically fastened over vapor barrier.
And mechanically fastened. Now, you and I looked at one recently where the guy used staples.
Not acceptable. No longer acceptable by any municipality. That was something when we saw that together. Well, you actually sent me a picture of it. We both were astounded that it passed any building standards or building codes.
So metal. Let's explain real quick what metal lath looks like. It looks like screen on the outside wall, right?
Yeah, a lot of people refer to it kind of as a chicken wire, but it's really not. It's an expanded galvanized metal. And it's a self-furring product, so it's not flat. It actually has a depth to it of about 1/4 of an inch, so it allows our cement to get behind the expanded metal.
Get a grip. So kind of gets a grip.
Yeah. So once you have it fastened to the wall, mechanically fastened with a kind of a wafer head fastener, so it collects the expanded metal and really it fastens it to the wall well. And it has to be a certain screw pattern as well. It's not just random.
Well, so behind that though, behind the lathing, if we start at the wall, and this is the most important part of this that you and I run into constantly that isn't done right. It's what's behind that lathing system. The first thing that goes on the wall of the house before you stucco it.
Over the lumber framing can be a fiberglass impregnated gyp sheathing, or it can be a plywood or an OSB.
Just some sheathing, and then what goes on top of that? You need a redundant drainage system.
Correct, and we like to have a dual application, as you and I have discussed. You might be able to describe that a little bit better. You like to have that dual application.
Well, when you say dual application, Dr. Ken, we're talking about a dual application. What Ken means by that is 2 layers of paper is what I like to have. I mean, actually, I think that may be even code now, but you might have a brand would be Tyvek, or there's other brands, but you would have a house wrap, and then on top of that house wrap, you might have black tar paper, or you could just have two layers of whatever that's intended to go behind this product, because Tyvek has a product called stucco wrap. I'm not sure that it does much of anything, but it sells good. And so
it has striations in it, so you can see the ripples in it. So theoretically, that's a drainable plane in the striations.
So the objective is to have a way that when we know moisture is going to get behind any cementatious product, like even a masonry product like brick, stone, or stucco, it gets behind it. And so we have to create a way now, and we learned the hard way. We have to create a way for that moisture to drain out or dry out somehow.
Correct.
Okay, so now we've got the paper on the wall, and we have the wire on the wall, and then we do a brown coat.
We do a scratch coat.
A scratch coat.
So now we're back to the 3-coat application, which is a standard term used in an architectural spec, and it's a 3-coat application: a scratch, a brown, and a finish. And when we scratch, we're basically, again, trying to force the cement behind the metal lath so it creates a nice bond. And then we use a tool that actually, it appears to be scratching the wall surface horizontally, which is creating troughs in it for the brown coat to collect. Now there's curing times involved.
Ken, we're going to take a quick break. Will you hang with us for a few minutes to the other side of the break? Fantastic, buddy. I appreciate it. You're listening to Remodel Revolution Radio. We're talking stucco. Stay tuned. So what does a garage door do besides enhance your home, protect your family, and secure your vehicles? Well, when you contact the pros at Windsor Door, you'll learn how a truly high-quality garage door company can make a difference. Insulated doors, carriage-style doors, steel and custom wood, Windsor Door has them all and much, much more. And nothing makes a garage door work better than a high-quality opener. That's why the folks at Windsor Door only use LiftMaster garage door openers. And it's no wonder LiftMaster is the #1 professionally installed garage door opener. Only LiftMaster has patented MyQ technology, which alerts you if you forget to close your garage door and lets you close it from anywhere, anytime with built-in Wi-Fi technology. It also has battery backup, so you can get in even when the power's out. So contact a Windsor Door dealer near you at windsordor.com. Alex Guthrie here for my friends at Total Air and Heat. Did you know a typical AC unit runs enough hours in a year equal to a car running 60,000 miles? Total Air and Heat recommends that you tune your system and have it safety checked every 6 months to ensure peak efficiency, proper operation, and increase the life of the system. Need a new air conditioning and heating system? No problem. Total Air and Heat can replace your equipment with the best equipment on the market today. Train. And you know it's hard to stop a train. So for the best heating and air conditioning contractors in North Dallas and Plano for the past 60 years, call my friends at Total Air and Heat, 972-881-0020. That's 972-881-0020. Or visit them online at totalair.com. Total Air and Heat. Some people think the only thing worse than calling the dentist is calling the foundation repairman. That's why I recommend Hargrave Foundation Repair. Cracks in the walls? Doors that won't close? Give the folks at Hargrave Foundation a call. Now, sometimes it's not the foundation at all. That's why you need an honest, proven company. You see, understanding the soils and weather is a must for a lifetime repair. Family owned and operated since 1968, Hargrave has seen it all. Hargrave Foundation Repair is fully licensed and insured, and their staff stays up to date on all the latest techniques and advances. So call one of the last independently owned foundation companies in North Texas and the exclusive installer of the Chance helical pier system. Call Hargrave Foundation Repair at 972-442-3415. That's 972-442-3415. Hargrave Foundation Repair, 972-442-3415. I like it. Welcome back to Remodel Revolution Radio. Ken, are you singing? We're here with Ken McCombs, KTM Drywall and Stucco Stuff. He's the man. He knows his stuff. We're going to start calling him Dr. Ken because he knows all the scientific stuff. So we really appreciate you hanging with us, Ken.
Absolutely.
We're having a great conversation about really what stucco is and the fact that stucco, being a masonry product, actually does get water behind it. And unlike a brick, if you have brick on your house, you have maybe an inch of space but between the back of the brick and the wall. And that's called a brick, it's a brick pocket. And so air can get in there, and when bricks sweat, water goes right through brick just like it does stucco. And actually the back of the brick, if you went back there today and reached behind the brick on your house, you would feel moisture. It'd feel damp because all this moisture we have sucks into that brick just like a sponge, and it's got to go somewhere, and it'll go and dry or wet goes to dry. So it just finds that dry stuff, goes right back to the back of it and out. Well, when you have stucco, you don't have that big air pocket back there, so you have to create what we call a redundant drainage plane. So drainage plane number one is the face of it, drains off the front. But when it gets through the stucco to the back, we have to have basically not one, but two drainage planes to protect. And it's also a little bit of a, helps it move a little bit and keep from cracking by having that extra piece of material back there, which would be house wrap or tar paper. And so right now, Ken's explaining to us exactly what hard coat stucco is. And there's one thing that I left out earlier that we have to talk about, and that is the little drainage channels, the channels that go around, Ken, that you put on the bottom.
Correct.
And around the windows and all that stuff. What are those called?
Well, they're trade name is a number 66, but it's a casing bead, and there are a number of different types of galvanized casing beads and vinyl casing beads. There are some that are weeped. In other words, they have holes in them, so they drain out the bottom, and some of them that are not weeped, and they're for vertical surfaces. So you look for that casing bead on the bottom, say for the bottom of the property around the perimeter of the foundation. It needs to be set at a -2 inches below finished floor. So that it actually cantilevers down over the foundation, and that's what that casing bead is to do, is establish a perimeter grade all the way around the property.
And so when you look at a stucco, and really it should happen with any masonry, but hard coat stucco or masonry stucco, you want to see, and probably EIFS as well, you want to see a gap between, you want to see at least a 2-inch gap underneath it.
Well, you want to see from the finished floor of the foundation, if it's an outside, if the foundation is poured for brick, it's one type of foundation, as you and I know.
Right.
And if another is the stucco, it's more of a 90-degree outside edge, and you can't lever down 2 inches if you can picture that. So, and you want to avoid space behind it. You don't want to seal that, but you want it drainable.
Right.
Back to what you were saying with the system. The system is somewhat, I mean, it's very tight to the wall. Say a 3/4 inch system over your vapor barrier, which again, we're going back to the scratch coat, over metal lath, and then a brown coat, and then a finish coat, so a 3-coat application. Well, the system is permeable, so it absorbs moisture just like you're talking about, and it exhausts moisture. You never want to seal the exterior of the stucco partition, or you're trapping any moisture that gets behind it.
Okay, so that was where we were going to go next, because we're going to run out of minutes here, and so we need to talk about a few things. Can you paint stucco? That always comes up.
Yes, you can. Just as you can paint any masonry product, brick, stone. When you're, I encourage people to use a 100% acrylic product. Most finishes now are an acrylic finish. These are manufactured finishes that contain the color pigment. So most people select the color in their finishes. It's not necessarily painted, but if you have an existing surface, say you have a white home and you want to change the color to somewhat of a softer yellow, you would then roll or apply, not spray. You want to roll or apply an acrylic, and it absorbs into the system, and it maintains its permeability.
So it allows it to breathe. That's what we're trying to do, right? So
yeah,
you don't want
to trap the cells.
You don't want to seal it. You don't want to seal it. You just want to color it.
Now, inside, on in a hospital environment, an OR room, surgery room, where we build partitions, the intent is, after curing times, painters come in with epoxies, different types of paints, because they want it to be a washable surface. They don't want it to absorb moisture. So that's the only case where you would have if you're wanting it to be a washable surface, you would close the cells.
Exactly. So we're just out of time, and I really appreciate you spending some time with us this morning. How do people get in touch? How do they find you in real life?
Well, it's ktmdrywall.com.
Okay.
KTM Drywall Inc. We've been in business now in our 24th year here in Dallas, Texas.
Awesome. Thank you.
Reach us, go to our website.
Thank you, buddy. Have a great weekend.
Thank you.
We'll be
I look
right
forward to
back
seeing you
with
this week.
more Remodel Revolution Radio. Some people think the only thing worse than calling the dentist is calling the foundation repairman. That's why I recommend Hargrave Foundation Repair. Cracks in the walls, doors that won't close, give the folks at Hargrave Foundation a call. Now, sometimes it's not the foundation at all. That's why you need an honest, proven company. You see, understanding the soils and weather is a must for a lifetime repair. Family owned and operated since 1968, Hargrave has seen it all. Hargrave Foundation Repair is fully licensed and insured, and their staff stays up to date on all the latest techniques and advances. So call one of the last independently owned foundation companies in North Texas and the exclusive installer of the Chance helical pier system. Call Hargrave Foundation Repair at 972-442-3415. That's 972-442-3415. Hargrave Foundation Repair, 972-442-3415. Alex Guthrie here for my friends at Total Air and Heat. Did you know a typical AC unit runs enough hours in a year equal to a car running 60,000 miles? Total Air and Heat recommends that you tune your system and have it safety checked every 6 months to ensure peak efficiency, proper operation, and increase the life of the system. Need a new air conditioning and heating system? No problem. Total Air and Heat can replace your equipment with the best equipment on the market today. Train. And you know it's hard to stop a train. So for the best heating and air conditioning contractors in North Dallas and Plano for the past 60 years, call my friends at Total Air and Heat, 972-881-0020. That's 972-881-0020. Or visit them online at totalair.com. Total Air and Heat. So what does a garage door do besides enhance your home, protect your family, and secure your vehicles? Well, when you contact the pros at Windsor Door, you'll learn how a truly high-quality garage door company can make a difference. Insulated doors, carriage-style doors, steel and custom wood, Windsor Door has them all and much, much more. And nothing makes a garage door work better than a high-quality opener. That's why the folks at Windsor Door only use LiftMaster garage door openers. And it's no wonder LiftMaster is the #1 professionally installed garage door opener. Only LiftMaster has patented MyQ technology, which alerts you if you forget to close your garage door and lets you close it from anywhere, anytime with built-in Wi-Fi technology. It also has battery backup, so you can get in even when the power's out. So contact a Windsor Door dealer near you at windsordor.com. Welcome back to Remodel Revolution Radio. It's the bottom of the hour, the second hour already. What has happened? Where has the time gone? It's been so much fun. And man, we just lost our feed. Oh well. So to our guest